Sometimes you have to chase customers for a renewal. That's okay. So we're going to talk about how you can follow up with a purpose and what happens after you make the pitch. We've done some research into account health. We're approaching renewal time. We kind of have a story that we want to tell, demonstrating value. Let's say you've actually now gone and pitched that renewal, or you've engaged a company in that renewal conversation. What do you do next after you've made that pitch to them?
Well, I think there's absolutely nothing worse than someone who's never talked to you and all of a sudden they'll all over you because you've got a renewal, and then the next minute, as soon as you've signed up, they no longer talk to you anymore. Can't stand that sort of behaviour. Understand why that happens, and people are overloaded. So I'm not being super judgy, people, but I do understand it. But really, when you're on the receiving end, you go, really? So I kind of like to be kind of transparent. I think the reality is when you've given the pitch and they've got the renewal, you've got to be just very crystal clear on if there's any problems, what are they, how you're going to approach them, coming back to outcomes. If you are blocking them achieving their outcomes, you are not contributing to their outcomes, you have to then get yourself to the other side. We will do this, and this is how we will do it. It doesn't mean you solve everything now, and you don't just do that. Oh yes, we'll get to that. It's on our feature list. You don't do all of that stuff because you know no one believes that stuff. Make it quite concrete.
Something that I think we've done well in the past and have seen other companies do really well is that you're hearing these problems, or call them challenges, and then actually bringing teammates around that. So either bringing in product, bringing in engineering, solutions engineering, whatever, whoever on the team can help beyond, say, pricing, if there are feature issues or something like that. Is that like best practice here, is bring the team around and help a customer get past these particular challenges?
I would think so. It's understanding where everyone fits in the food chain. But if you've decided you want to keep this customer, then you might as well spend some time getting your other teammates involved, because you're more likely to keep a customer by actually engaging. So, and I used to find this at Proforma. I used to bring Simon in as the product manager, and people loved to be able to talk to Simon. And it was because they could talk to the person who was going to develop the features. And the good thing about Simon is he actually used to say, we're not going to develop that just yet. However, we got very good at finding workarounds, and I love a good workaround. I love a good hack.
Yeah. And I know customers really appreciated that. I enjoyed doing that as well, getting really hands-on and finding that way around. So even if you can't solve all the problems directly, I think that open and honest conversation is really important. And I think it's quite endearing, really. As a customer, I appreciate when someone's honest with me. A much better approach than, we'll put that on the list of 15,000 things that other people have asked us for.
Remember your experience the other week where there was a promise on something was going to arrive for you and everyone had said, yes, it's coming. And you finally got someone who said, no, you need to plan a different route because that's not happening. And that allowed you to actually manage the situation much more effectively. Now, you weren't happy, but you were actually very appreciative of actually that they were authentic and they finally told you the truth.
I think that's a good point, is lets you actually move on, right? So you have to be definitive and acknowledge yes, no, or even if it's like a later thing, just acknowledge that and then circle back on it. And then I think the last thing I'll say on that is that if you do promise to get back to someone, is that actually follow up with them.
That's right. The only other thing I'd add to this is if you get the renewal, is really document the discussions you've had in terms of business outcomes, problems they've had, any sort of issues or any things they love, because that then gives, whether it's you the next cycle or someone else, gives someone a really good foundation to come from a base of knowledge so that they can monitor and keep it all in check rather than starting from, oh, hello, my name's Kate and I'm new. I just wanted to introduce myself. If it was me, I would say, my name is Kate. I understand these are our issues. This is where we're at. This is what your current score is. This is who's using it. This is what your active users are. Are you happy for us to talk in those terms? Now let's start talking about the relationship.
And so two things that come to mind there. The first one is it helps build that one particular relationship, but then also as documenting it goes, you're helping to scale up your success program with sort of like internal best practice.
To just summarize, whether we're talking about one enterprise or we're talking about 50 self-serve, the process is about the same. We start early, we track the right signals, we tailor the story to what they care about, not just about what yourself needs, and you follow up with purpose. So if you do all of those things, async or not, renewals are the moment to deepen that relationship, not just secure your revenue.